I was in my car, stopped at a light, and I'm looking around like I usually do when I'm stopped at a light. And I see this young lady. And she looked like she was probably in her late 20s, early 30s. She was about 5'5", and she probably weighed about 220, 230. Oh. And she had on an outfit that I found very interesting. It was a top that stopped here, so it exposed her midriff, and shorts that kind of stopped here. The part that struck me, however, was that she had this stomach that hung over the waistband of her pants, of her shorts, okay? And it really kind of just laid there. And it was like hanging over like 3 or 4 inches. Now, where did I go with this information? I went straight into judgment. Anyone out there go into judgment in hearing this story? Well, I went into judgment. And in that moment, I no longer saw this young woman's light. In that moment, I didn't see my light because I was knee-deep in judgment. In fact, I was mesmerized in it, to the point where I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw the men behind me staring at her. So, judgment. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. I know we talked about it, I think 2 times ago when I spoke. And the last time I spoke, we talked about doing some digging, some treasure hunting. For those of you who were here, do you remember? We treasure hunted. Yes. Yes. I know some of you who were here. I know it was 3 months ago. But so we did some treasure hunting, and so we're going to continue doing that because our treasure is our light. So when we talk about our light, what are we talking about? We're talking about that place within us that is perfect. That place that is untarnished, that place that is pure, 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 pure love. So that's the light that we're going to talk about. So can everybody repeat out loud, I am light.
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 So now turn to your neighbor and say, you are light.
You are light. You are light.
Again. You are light.
You are light.
One more time. You are light. Yes.
You are light.
You are light. You are light. You are light.
You are light.
So we are all light. But when judgment gets in the way, do you think we remember that we're light? Or do we forget that we're light? I would beg to argue that we forget we are light. So when we're in this place of judgment, and we all do it, and I would probably say we do it a lot, because since I decided on talking about this topic, I start looking at how often I judge, not just in a day, it can just be within a 5-minute period. It's interesting just the amount of judgment, because judgment is when we look at something and we either we say they're wrong or it's wrong, or we look at it and say we're wrong. Okay? So that's what we're talking about. And there's usually some emotion behind it. And it's not necessarily fact-based, it's whatever. Okay? So when we're in judgment, there are things that happen. And there's results that can happen. So for one, it breaks down communication. It really, really does. I'm thinking with this woman, if I had now gotten out of my car and attempted to have a conversation with her, it would not have happened, because I would have been focused on the stomach. So also what judgment can do is that it can hurt other people. And you can see how it can hurt other people, right? If you're thinking bad thoughts about them, it's hurtful. Judgment can also hurt us. How it hurts us, a variety of ways. One thing is if you actually participate in judgment and you think about what it is that you've done, oftentimes you'll feel guilty. And we don't like to feel guilty, and we tend to hold on to the guilt. Judgment can also make us start judging ourselves. Has anybody judged themselves?
Oh, never.
And typically, I know, those people next door. And typically when we judge ourselves, are we the victor? No. We usually are the one, the oh, woe is me. Okay? So judgment also sends negativity out in the world. So we're all connected, right? We're all connected. So I can't do something and you not be affected by it in some form or fashion. There's this thing called groupthink. Has anybody ever heard of it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Has anyone not heard of groupthink? Okay. So groupthink basically is this idea that when you're in a group, like we are today, you start subscribing to a thought process that is all very similar. Now, a lot of times you see this in corporations. And so what happens is that everybody starts thinking the same way. So if you have a group think that is of negativity, what is that doing but creating more negativity? Because now we have a vibration that we're sending out. We're sending out this energy, and this energy is of negativity. So what do we know about law of attraction? Come back, right? So if I'm putting out I'm putting out negativity, I'm going to get back negativity, but also that negativity grows. One of my ministers Reverend Mawata, that was down in the East Bay, talked about, he says, stuff needs stuff to grow. So if I'm putting out negativity and you're putting out negativity, it's like, ooh, it's just a feast. And so it's just growing and growing and growing. So another thing that judgment does is it perpetuates stereotypes. Now, does everybody know what a stereotype is? Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that doesn't know what a stereotype is? Okay, good. So, it perpetuates stereotypes. And stereotypes, regardless, I mean, there can be some positive stereotypes, or at least thoughts of, but what it does is it gets you thinking that this group of people is this way regardless. And it's not a true statement, because not a group of people can't all be the same. Okay? So let's look at this little video. It's a very visual day today.
There.
Hi.
Nice day, huh?
Yeah, finally, right?
Where are you from? Your English is perfect.
San Diego. We speak English.
Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Orange County, but I never actually lived there.
I know before that.
Before I was born.
Yeah, well, where are your people from?
Oh, wow.
Well, my great-grandma was from Seoul.
Korean. I knew it. I was like, she's either Japanese or Korean. But I was leaning more towards Korean.
Amazing.
There's a really good teriyaki barbecue place in my apartment. I actually really like kimchi.
Oh, my
Cool.
God. Oh, no.
What about you? Where are you from?
San Francisco.
But where are you from?
Oh, I'm just American.
Really? You're Native American?
No, just regular American.
Oh, I know.
Oh, well, I guess my grandparents are from England.
Oh, well,
Don't hold it to you. It feels salty. Double, toil and trouble. On the gap, beware, Jack the Ripper. Bloody hell. Cheerio.
I think your people's fish and chips are amazing.
You're weird.
Really? Where? Must be a Korean thing.
Oh.
That was well done. Thank you. Had to share that. Stereotypes. You can see how the communication was broken down. No one got anything productive out of that exchange. And she reacted to the way that he reacted to her.
Yeah.
Okay? To show him how silly he was sounding. So this was kind of an extreme case of stereotyping, but they can be very subtle. And so we need to just be aware of where our thoughts are, what we're doing. So, judgment, not such a good thing. So if we know this, why do we do it? I mean, why do we do it? I knew when I was looking at this young woman and was in this judgment that this was not a good thing, but yet I found something later on to judge about.
I think because society, we were born into a society that judges everything. And and it's like habitual.
Yes,
It just,
yes,
Yeah, I think it makes us feel better about ourselves.
that's right. At least temporarily, right? Because then the guilt sets in.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been conditioned. We have been conditioned from, I'd say, in the womb. Like she said, before I was born. Yes, because there was this race consciousness that happened before we even were thought of. Why do we do it? Insecurity. Talked about that. Insecurity. When we don't feel good about ourselves and there's somebody out there that's doing something that we think might be worse than what we're doing. Oh yeah, I'm better than them.
You just described the Jerry Springer show.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
well, and also Carl Jung's theory of protection.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's this insecurity. We've tapped into this place that it's like, I'm going to get you before you get me kind of thing. There's also this idea of fear. And, and being intimidated by someone else. Especially if that someone else has something that you want. Or they're acting in a way that you would like to be acting. And then it's like, who do they think they are? They think they're better than me. So there's this fear that we're reacting to. There's also sometimes there's a change that we want to make. And we haven't quite gotten there yet. And so what happens is that we see someone that's doing what it is that we would like to do. We're not there. We don't feel good about it, about not being there. And so therefore, this person must be showing off. They must be doing, who do they think they are that they can do this? So it's all from within. Okay? It was learned behavior at some point, but then we subscribed to it. We adopted it. We accepted it. We said, yes, sign me up. Where do I sign? And we continue to do it. There is this story that I came across, and it was about these two couples. And so there was this older couple, and there was this younger couple. And the older couple, you know, they lived in this neighborhood, and the young couple moved into the neighborhood. And so one day, the woman and the younger couple was, you know, she had washed her clothes and she was hanging them out to dry. And then the older woman was looking out her window, and she said to her husband, Bill, and her name was Mary, she said, Bill, oh my goodness, her clothes are so dingy. I mean, she just washed them and they're just dingy. I just don't understand it. And Bill says, okay. So next time the young woman hangs out her clothing, and Mary's back at the window and saying, I just don't get it. I don't understand why she cannot wash her clothes well. Why are they so dingy looking? Bill's like, okay. Time passes. Mary once again is looking out the window and seeing the woman hanging up her clothes. And she's like, oh my God, the clothes, they're all nice and bright and clean. I don't know what she did. What did she do? She finally got it. And Bill looks at her and says, well, I washed the windows. Okay.
Love
So how are we looking at the world? What kind of window are we looking through? And what is it that we're seeing on the other side? Say, I am light.
I am light. I am light.
I am light.
I am light.
I am light.
I am light.
So let us look through that window. The window that's sparkling clean, and we can see others' light, and we can see our light. So how do we go about doing this? It's like, oh, that's a nice idea. Feel good about it, but not quite sure how to go about it. One way is to look at what you're thinking about. We are a community that talks about consciousness a lot. Okay? It's about how we're thinking about things, how we're being. What are we thinking about? What are we putting our emotions on? And so there's this awareness that comes from being present to what you're thinking. Abraham, Esther and Jerry Hicks, one of the things they talked about, because it's really kind of impossible to just monitor our thoughts all the time. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's just like, that would be a full-time job. And I probably would get tired after 5 minutes. But one of the ways is to look at how you're feeling. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling not so good? Okay? That's easy. Because when you're tapped into your body, you can tell, you know how you feel. I feel kind of funky. Why is that? What's going on? Okay, so pay attention to your thoughts. Look for something positive. You know, like that little story with the little girl looking, through all the poop and looking, and saying there's a pony in here somewhere. Okay? She's being positive. It's got to be. There's got to be a pony. And so when I looked at the situation with this young woman, what could have been my pony here? And what I noticed about this young woman was she walked with such confidence. She walked with the air like, I don't give a.
Rat's ass.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. But she really, that was one of the things I did notice about her, because she was erect. She just walked, like, it was like the stance of what you would think a queen would do. And so I could have seen that as opposed to what I focused on. Okay? So there's always something positive. Always. Always. I'm light. And breathe. Okay. Another way is to stop stereotyping. We saw in the video, like I said, that's extreme. But there are people like that. I mean, there are people like that. I remember when I was growing up, I went to Seattle, to St. Edward's School. That's where my grade school, went there from 1st through 8th grade. And it would be interesting things that I would get from people, you know, and it was usually white people. Actually, it was always white people. And, you know, things like, oh, well, you know, we get darker in the sun. Do you get lighter?
What?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So, yeah. Okay. So we all went to judgment. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was there. Okay. So.
How about, oh, you're gay. Who's the man? Who's the woman?
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, there's so many. And they can be very subtle. I mean, very subtle. That you might not even get it. And one of the things when you talked about society, we've learned this from society, is we've also learned to just kind of let things roll off. There's a certain level of acceptance. It's okay. But it's not. Because it's not perpetuating an environment that is conducive to us having our light shine. It's more of, let's look at the darkness and let's talk about that and let's let that grow. So, homework time.
Oh,
What I'd like you to do, well, obviously, is to look at the judgment in your life. You know, be conscious, be aware. So that's a given. And that's like a lifetime assignment. So it's not just, oh, today. But what I really would like you to do is today, for the rest of the day, everybody that you encounter, everybody that you think about, any kind of establishment you might enter into, I want you to see their light. I want you to send love. So if you're getting ready to go to the grocery store, send love to the grocery store before you get in there. If you see somebody walking down the street, send them some love. So we're going to be a community that fosters the light, that sees the light, that allows the light to just shine so brightly that we need to get some really cool sunglasses just so we can look. But we're going to be that place of light. Agreed?
yes.
Thank you. And so it is.
And so it is.